So, welcome everyone to our Study Abroad podcast series. So, today we have Adithya who studied in US and UK and he also studied a bit in Dubai. So, we'll be knowing about his journey today. So, welcome Adithya to our podcast.
Hi, Vishal. Nice meeting you.
So, Aditya, could you tell us a bit about your US degree that you did a few years ago and what was the specialization like and how did you choose your country, and the uh, course country and the college?
Yeah, so basically, I wanted something in like material science perspective and both more on like materials perspective and like physics and mathematics side. So what I did was actually look for like courses which are like in the US, which are like similar to that kind of thing, because most of my research papers before that were like in material science and metallic glasses, basically. So it's like an amorphous glass thing. And so I wanted to actually understand the thermodynamics and all that stuff. So I looked in for professors who are like kind of doing both physics and mathematics. And I eventually ended up in Colombia, where I did a degree in applied physics and applied math.
So did you apply to other colleges except Columbia, or it was like the choice for you?
I did apply to a few other colleges. I didn't actually have a lot of time to actually apply to a lot of different colleges, but a few others. And I kind of got like a similar tier once, similar tier colleges, but I chose Columbia because that was what like was the right fit for me, I think.
Sure, sure, sure. And when you're deciding that you would like to pursue physics, so were you a good student of physics, like back in school, like you liked physics, maths a lot, and didn't like biology or
Yeah,
something
I
like
think
that?
I think I liked physics and maths more than if I would say like languages or humanities. I really used to be bad at languages and humanities. And to be honest, I was better in this, and I used to write a lot of Olympiads. So I went for like a lot of Olympiads in physics and math. So that is how I ended up like having a try for like maths and physics and everything. So that's how I ended up being there.
Sure, sure. So at Columbia, when you joined Columbia University and you had to probably get used to the college life, the hostel, etc. So, what was your life like? Like, did you stay in hostel? Did you stay like at your home, or did you like rented a home? What was the lifestyle like?
So, so they have this sort of out campus accommodation, off campus accommodation, which is like shared within like one roommate. So I had like one other roommates who was from South Korea, I think, and both of us like had like different rooms to study and different beds, but it was like we had like a shared kitchen and a shared bathroom. So that's the only thing that we had, and a shared hall. So but then it was. The price, if I would have to say, would have been around $1,200 for each person. Uh,
Sure, sure. And you had to probably do this cooking, cleaning, etc. by your own. So, were you used to that a bit before, or was it something you learned on the way?
to be fair, I still don't cook because the thing what I do is there's something called as meal plans in Colombia, which is sort of like a dining system where you can actually go for like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and like order like take out food for like yourself or you eat it from there itself. But occasionally when I needed to cook, I used to just make like scrambled eggs or something of that sort.
So you can cook a bit like survival cooking,
Survival. I just eat to survive.
You just eat to survive, not survive to eat. Sure, sure. So while doing your bachelor's and master's at Columbia, did you do any internship, part-time jobs, etc.?
Yeah, I actually did sort of internship in South Korea because that was in Seoul National University on metallic glasses basically, and it was by a recommendation from a professor who was one of my favorite professors back in my bachelor's, and he actually recommended me to go to Seoul National University for like a 6 month internship. So that's how I ended up being there.
Sure, sure. And this RATA thing also you did, the research assistant and teaching assistant a bit.
Yeah, so I did kind of like teaching assistants for like I think for half a year in Colombia. It was on electronics. and basically on quantum materials and quantum properties of solids. And what I did was like a TA system for like one of the professors in the same department.
And these professors you found through your classes or you contacted them separately? How was the connection made?
It was like he was my professor for like a year before, so I had done the same course before. So he actually recommended me to actually do a DA for the same course. Yeah.
Aditya, so from your experience, I see that you have made good relations with professors. So what all advantages you got by these good relations?
I think these were the two advantages I got. One was that the extra advantage that I got from TA was that I get extra money to actually for like spending a bit more, and that's around like if I would say previously, like if this was back into 2022, I think, and so like around $3,000 for a semester, so, and you have to actually do like you have to write like you have to check the papers and the other thing that you have to do is to actually like correct the answer sheets and like take tutorial sessions for the process.
Sure, sure. And I think later when you were applying for PhD, you got recommendation letter also from them. Added advantage.
Yes, so that was the biggest advantage that I had. Like I got an added advantage, which because I did both the TA with this professor, but I actually applied before I did the TA. So he had already given me the letter of recommendation before I did the TA, and also the professor that sent me to Korea. He's just amazing. So he actually like helped me write a letter of recommendation.
So it was like a symbiotic relation, you helping them with TARA and they helping you with
Yeah,
recommendation letters,
yeah.
etc. Both parties got some or the other benefits.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Sure, sure.
that's how I
So
ended up being that.
from US to UK, how was the decision making process here? Like when you are studying your bachelor's and then master's from Columbia, and then you decided that I would like to do now PhD in whichever subject you chose. So how did you decide again this country college course for this PhD thing?
So I actually chose UK because first of all it was Oxford, and I really wanted to go to one of that entire colleges and universities. And the second thing was that I actually met in one of the conferences student from the same group that I'm now right now working in. And it was exactly similar to what I really wanted to do. So basically on topology on condensed matter and how one understands how like light interacts with like photonic materials and everything. So I was like, I can just try like writing a research proposal to this person to just check whether it's going to be working or not.
Sure, sure. So let's say for the audience sake, there is a bachelor's degree, there is a master's degree, and there is a PhD degree. You are pretty much experienced in all three now. How do you explain these degrees to a, let's say, a student, like a high school student, that what is the difference between a bachelor's, master's, and a PhD?
So in the UK, especially, there are masters by research and masters by taught. So you can do an MPhil by research, which is exactly what a PhD student does, but like 2 years before that. Whereas in the US, it's basically masters by taught. So most of the courses have to be taught. Like you have to learn and sit in classes and like work the assignment problems and everything. The bachelor's degree is basically like learning and understanding. So first year is basically every you'll have like all the subjects, including some of the humanities subjects, and then you transcend towards like a more specific stream by the end of the fourth year. So you can actually choose and like your courses and like end up in the fourth year to like have a specific interest in a specific field that you really wanted to pursue your master's and like your academic career. And then if you eventually go towards your master's, what I did basically was a more deeper learning of the same subject, but more like intense learning. And with that, I also did like a research course, research-based work with like one of the groups there. And it's more of like in between a PhD and a bachelor's, where like you actually learn a lot also and you apply that in a real world aspect, so you actually put a lot of sort of what do you call the thing as like research based or application based thing And a DPhil is basically just research. So you sit in the lab for like 11, 12 hours a day, just trying to figure out a new problem, a new something which has never been done before.
Sure, sure. And how does the scholarship thing goes for like bachelor's, master's, and PhD from your experience?
So bachelor's, it's a kind of difficult to get the like scholarship in the first year, but then in the second year after your CGPA like is increasing or something, so you have like around in a scale of like 10 or like say suppose 4.5 or something, you have like around above 4, then they kind of give you like a 20% discount or like 20% discount on the tuition fees. Um, but in masters or something, you can actually do a sort of like TNR is suggested and like learn and teach. And for PhD, you either are paid by the professor or you have like an industrial funding, or you basically just try to teach again and then get money, like a little bit of money.
Sure, sure. So I guess your PhD is a fully funded one.
Uh, I would say partially funded because my living expenses are a bit more than what I thought before. Like, and I suggested the quote for the amount of money that I would spend per year, but the prices keep rising for like housing and living expenditure out here in the UK. So eventually there is like a bit less of money. And then, so I would say like partially funded.
Sure, sure, sure. But you are living in the city of Oxford only?
Yeah, so I live right now. I live like around it's 15 minutes of walkable distance from my department. Uh, Basically, Uni of Oxford covers like around three-fourths of the land of the city center. And and the rest, but like the previous 2 years, I was actually living quite far. Around it took me an hour and 10 minutes to actually get here.
So you realized time management wise that it's wiser to live closer.
Yeah, it is. Definitely it is. Like I used to sleep in the bus. That's the time that I used to like uh,
How was your
spend for
Columbia
sleeping.
accommodation? That was far or that was near?
The Columbia accommodation was pretty close, so it was. I would say like if I don't remember, it was like 113th Street or something. And I used to live in like 116. Oh, it was the reverse, I think. I used to live in 113 and it used to
So
be
now you are
116.
back
So
to
it's
that
like,
reversal, right?
mm. Yeah, same, same. But
Close,
before
far,
I
now
graduate.
again close. So you realize that okay, close was
Yeah,
sure, sure.
yeah,
And
true.
time management, obviously, you spend so much time commuting here and there. Whereas if you going out here and there might be just like on a weekend or something once a week. Going to the lab is like every day.
Exactly. Yeah.
So your
So it's
typical day of PhD life, what's like your daily routine like in your case of research?
Uh, a daily routine would be that I go around like 9ish, 10 to the lab and to the office, and then I do a bit of reading first of like the topics that I need to do. And I'm a very P person, but I do sort of like jot down like a sort of list of what I need to do today, all of the experiments I need to do today, because I need to actually book sort of like small microscope or something which I'm be using, and then I do experiments for like around 5 6 hours or like more than that. Most of the days it goes more than that, and then the characterization happens, and then I have to write a sort of like just summary of like what happens, what is then, and then I brainstorm for a few minutes just to check whether what I'm doing is right or wrong.
Sure, sure. Many PhD students, go through this emotional trauma of, quitting PhD or the thought comes to their mind every now and then. It's very much like
Yeah,
entrepreneurship. The path is so hard that if people know how hard it is, they would not even try it. So PhD, I see a
yeah.
bit similar to that. In your case, how did you handle this? How do you handle this mental fluctuations at times?
My first year, my research was a bit flawed because whatever I did not give me sufficient results. But then my prof also used to say to me that it's sometimes it's an exponential graph. Once you get the results, it just keeps going, and then you can actually get a lot of results after that. Then my first year, I had to build an optical setup, which had a lot of challenges like spherical aberrations and everything, and it kind of took me a lot of time to actually correct all these things up. And once I figured that out, I went on to work like on like something called a photo alignment and like how to align the molecules of a liquid crystal. And that also, I tried it with a different material and it did not work. So I had to like change a field a little bit and go to topology. And then now it's getting better. So I would say like uh, it's just uh, it's just a matter of time, and then time actually will just solve all the problems, and you just keep pushing and pushing and like thinking what is going to happen next.
Sure, sure. So coming to the very last question, Aditya, what advice would you
Yeah,
give to younger yourself or people like you, 5, 10 years younger?
I would say it's first to learn group theory because I struggle a lot in that in topology. It's like and to learn a bit more on the math side of it, because as a physicist, we always think of like uh, all these mathematicians to be very abstract. It's like they say as a four-dimensional, and then you like you just map it as three-dimensional sphere. But then I would say like on if, for me, if I would have to go back, I would say like I wanted to actually work more on the mathematics side of it and have a better understanding before I actually dwell into the real world applications.
Sure, sure. Thank you, Aditya, for your time and
Yeah,
sharing your
no
experience
worries.
about the
Yeah,
variations. Have a good day.
yeah.
Great
You too,
talking
you
to you.
too.
Bye.